Delayed obedience is disobedience. Slogan that we always hear in church. Delayed obedience is not always disobedience. Sometimes it's wisdom. Sometimes it's handling a situation with prudence and honor. And it goes back to God not always being in a rush. God is even slow. So you telling me that God takes his time, but God expects us to always move like this? If we're made in his image, how is that becoming more like Christ? How is that reflecting him and his character? Long suffering. He tells us to be slow to speak and quick to hear. So that tells us that he could be telling us, be quick to do this, but be slow to do that. There's a balance that needs to be had. In the book of Ezra, the men were commanded to put away the idolatrous and foreign wives, to divorce them. But it took them 3 months to do it. Do you think that it's because they were being disobedient, or they wanted to enjoy the sin for as long as they could before they obeyed? No. It was because they knew it was a weighty matter and they wanted to handle it appropriately. And sometimes that takes time. Then we see, I don't know if it's in John, Jesus talking about the 2 sons. The father told both the sons to go work. One son said, no, I'm not going to work, but eventually he did. And then the other son said, okay, I'll go to work, but he didn't. And Jesus said, which one do you think he took more pleasure in? The one who said he wouldn't, but eventually did. That was delayed obedience, but he still took pleasure because he eventually obeyed. God showed me this a few years ago, and I cringe every time somebody says, because delayed obedience is disobedience. Not always. God told Gideon to go to war. Gideon said, I need a sign. I need confirmation, because this is big. God gave him confirmation. Guess what Gideon did? He didn't go right away. He asked for another sign. That was wisdom. It could have been some fear there, but when somebody's dealing with fear, they need confirmation. It's not ridiculous to ask for confirmation from God when you're someone who is used to dealing with fear. Just because Jesus tells us to fear not doesn't mean it's easy to fear not. Like, come on. We're human. And it's the people that have trouble themselves that are the main ones making other people feel like they're not living up to God's standard because they're not doing it right. You're not doing it right either. In one area or another, you're not doing it right either. We all have our hang-ups. We all have weaknesses in certain areas. We all have things we need to be delivered from. We all have seasons of immaturity and going from glory to glory. We all have things and stuff that God has to show us grace and mercy for in order for us to even align ourselves a little bit with God. God is God. We are human. Yes, we have spirit. Yes, we have authority. Yes, we have identity in Christ. But my God, Jesus did not come to condemn, but to set free. Why are we condemning one another? Why are we letting the accuser of the brethren use us to accuse one another? And to beat each other up because we're not like the next person. We weren't meant to be. God didn't create us to be. God created us to be unique, set apart for his purpose. And I'm learning it takes a certain confidence in God, in an individual, and their own relationship to really stick with it, because there will be people. There will be spiritual attacks on your mind, making you doubt, accusing you, telling you you're not good enough, you're insufficient, you're evil, you're wicked, you're sinful, you're too this, you're too that, you're not enough this or not enough that. Really takes confidence to be able to say no and not feel guilty. To be able to say, I'm discerning that the season is up, and not feel guilty. And if you're discerning something and you feel like a season is up and it's not really God, that's okay too, because life is a learning process. Christianity is a learning process. The Bible is a learning process. It's a learning process being a human, learning how to serve a supernatural spirit. I refuse to beat myself up, and I hope more people would do the same. Because I've been beating myself up for years, and I'm tired of being black and blue. I'm ready to be a light. I'm ready to be a light. To let the light of Jesus shine through me to others. I think in this whole situation, I'm also getting confirmation of my ministry. What God's called me to do, who God's called me to be to others. One thing I can say that I say to almost everybody I know is, there is now no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus. Because so many of us condemn ourselves that the devil doesn't even have to try. All he's got to do is plant a seed, plant a thought, and then let you take over. And you just beat yourself down. And his mission is accomplished. But you've done the heavy lifting. God help us, huh? But he does. And that I am sure. I am confident. My help is in God. My confirmation is in God. My peace is in God. My direction is in God. It's all there. My provision. Everything. And even though this season didn't go as I thought it would, I am so thankful for this season. I'm so thankful for the lessons in this season. The lesson in the disappointment, the lesson in the pain. I'm so thankful for the lesson. And I can keep talking, but my phone is about to die, so I don't know if anybody's going to see this, but I pray that the message is received and that you get revelation with it for your own situation. God bless you. I love you.